Keltie followed, her baby attached to her chest. Tony beside her, she smiled graciously. The tension in her shoulders clear to see. Next came Garrison and Gabriel. Hand in hand, their tense faces saying more than words could have. Garrison's jaw was set. Gabriel's eyes cast downward. The vacant chairs where Hunter, Peyton, and some of the others would normally be were almost louder with their silence than the general chatter. Kody attempted a smile as everyone got settled. "Thanks for coming, all of you," he started out. "I know it has been tough, but I just want us to reconnect. I want us to remember, we're family first." Silence. The children looked at each other, and then Garrison finally spoke. His voice, low and firm. "You only began calling again because you're lonely. Where were you when we needed you? Dad? Where were you when the pandemic was hardest?" Kody tensed. "That's not fair. I did what I thought was best. I was trying to protect everyone." "Protect who?" Gabriel spat, eyes blazing. "Because it wasn't us. It was Robyn. Always Robyn." The room became silent. Kody's face turned red. "Don't you dare disrespect my marriage. I've sacrificed for this family." "No," Logan cut in, his level voice slicing through. "We sacrificed. The kids, Mom. All of us. You decided where to put your time, and it wasn't with us." Logan's words struck like rocks. Kody's mouth began to open to protest but clamped shut again, his chest rising and falling. Madison, who had been silent up to that point, spoke up. "Dad, this isn't about who you love more. It's about showing up. You've missed birthdays, graduations, weddings. The pandemic didn't shatter this family. You did." Kody hit a hand on the table, making everyone jump. "I did it all for this family. Don't rewrite history." Keltie's baby started to wail. She swayed slowly, her voice gentler but no less piercing. "Dad, we're not changing the past, we're living it. You're upset because Mom left. But she left because she was tired of feeling invisible. We all felt invisible." Kody's hands were trembling. He sat back in his chair, blinking rapidly. I can't lose you all too." The camera captured Kody's face close up, shocked, shattered, but stubbornly refusing to give in. Meanwhile in Utah, Christine met with her daughters Truly and Isabel at a small cafe. Laughter erupted around their table as they devoured pastries, but quickly the atmosphere became somber. "So, did you attend the meeting?" Isabel inquired warily. Christine shook her head. "No, I don't feel it's my place anymore. That's between him and you kids. I'll always stand by you, but I can't sit in those rooms anymore. It's too painful." Truly nibbled at her muffin. "Did Dad even invite you to come?" Christine paused, then confessed. "Not in so many words. Which tells me all I need to know." The girls nodded, their faces a blend of disappointment and resignation. Christine leaned across the table and squeezed their hands. "Look," she said sternly. "I know it stings, but we're creating something new here. A new life, with love and laughter. That's what I want for you." Her voice had hope and definity in it, as if she were not only talking to her daughters, but to the spirit of her former marriage. Meri and Robyn's Meri, meanwhile had driven out to Robyn's. Tension between them had been palpable for years, but now that everyone else had left, Robyn had called out. They sat at the kitchen table, steaming cups of tea between them. The silence was heavy with unspoken words. "I feel abandoned," Robyn admitted, shaking. "By everybody but Kody. I wanted sister wives, not just me and him. This isn't the life I envisioned we'd have." Meri swirled her tea slowly, observing the liquid mix. "I understand, I know what it's like to be left behind. But Robyn, you've always had Kody. The rest of us didn't." Robyn's eyes began to water. "If you leave too, Meri, then it's really just me. I don't want to be the last one standing." Meri sighed, folding her hands. "I already left in every way that matters. I stayed too long, waiting for a miracle. But my miracle isn't this family anymore. My miracle is me." Robyn's crying filled the still room. Meri stretched out, not to comfort, but to ground her words. "Robyn, you've hitched your whole world to Kody. But if he's crashing, do you want to go down with him?" Robyn shook her head wildly, but the uncertainty was there in her eyes. The scene cut back to Kody. He was driving alone down the streets of Flagstaff at night. Street lights blurred on the windshield. His face set and weathered. In the confessional seat, his voice broke. They believe I've let them down. Perhaps I have. But I am not finished. I will not be erased. Not by my wives. Not by my children. This family belongs to me. The last shot hovered over Kody, driving into his driveway. Headlights making long shadows across a vacant yard. The house towered big but vacant. All windows blacked out. He sat in the vehicle for an extended amount of time before at last getting out. Shoulders dropped. The look of abandonment apparent in each step. The proposal and the fallout. The show began in the Wasatch Mountains. Sunlight illuminating the first spots of snow covering the peaks. Christine's Utah house shone warmly on the chilly background. Laughter overflowed from the kitchen. Christine, face flushed with glee, stood beside the counter, her hand glinting with a new diamond ring. David Woolley sat next to her, his arms spread protectively across her shoulders. Christine's daughters gathered around, their expressions a blend of happiness and doubt. A camera focused on the ring, held up by Christine. "Well," she smiled. "I suppose it's official. I'm marrying." The room burst into applause, albeit somewhat reluctantly. "Mom," Usabel said tactfully. "I'm really happy for you." "I am. But are you inviting Dad?" Christine's smile wavered. The radiance in her eyes lessened by just a fraction. "That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?" she whispered. At another time, cameras trailed Christine and her daughters into a bridal salon. Stacks of lace, satin, and silk glimmered under harsh lights. Christine spun in one gown, beaming, her daughters applauding and giggling. "I feel like a princess," Christine told them, sweeping the skirt out dramatically. But as she turned back onto the platform, her look became serious. "I find myself thinking about who is not here," she confessed. "When I first pictured this, I figured all my kids, my family, my Kody, would be a part of it. But that's no longer my reality." The room fell silent. Then my Keltie spoke up. "Mom, this is your time. Don't let Dad hijack it. If he does come, he'll turn it all about him. And if he doesn't, then it's just confirmation you did the right thing by leaving." Christine's eyes welled up. She clutched her daughters close, saying softly, "I just want peace. For me, for you, for all of us." At the same time, back in Flagstaff, Kody sat rigidly in his confessional chair. His face was pale, his lips twisted with incredulity. "Christine's marrying," he said flatly. "Married. After all we've built together. After all the years raising kids, she just throws it all away like it didn't matter." His voice became louder, edgier. "She's replacing me, replacing our covenant, and she's in joy. How am I supposed to handle that?" He rubbed his forehead, then leaned in toward the camera. "If she imagines that I'm just going to smile and applaud like some former boyfriend, she's delusional. I am their father. I should be included here." The camera hung on his face as it contorted with anger and loss. Janelle's coffee talked. Janelle and Christine first met over coffee in Utah. Their bond had strengthened since both women severed their ties with Kody. Sharing steaming cups, Christine confided in Janelle. "Janelle, I don't know what to do," she admitted. "Do I invite him over? Do I risk the drama? Half of me thinks it's the right thing to do, for the kids, but the other half of me knows he'll mess it up." Janelle didn't wait. "Christine, you don't owe him anything. He didn't appear when you needed him. He didn't appear for the kids. Why should he be able to have a front row seat at your happiness now?" Christine sighed, stirring her coffee. I don't want my kids to think that I'm closing him out. I don't want them to hate me." Janelle extended across the table and grasped her hand. "The children already know the truth. They understand who came and who didn't. This is your wedding, your happiness. Guard it." Christine's shoulders eased, but her eyes remained concerned. Robyn responds in Flagstaff. Robyn sat in her living room, hands grasping a tissue. "I don't know how she can move on so quickly." Robyn wept. "We were going to be a family forever. And now she's just erasing it. Replacing it like none of it counted." She blotted her eyes, her voice breaking. "And Kody, he's heartbroken. He won't say it, but I see it. He feels betrayed. I feel betrayed. This is not what God meant." Her sobs rang through the still house. The invitation several days later. Cameras caught Christine at her dining room table, envelopes laid out in front of her. Each had painstaking handwriting on it. Children's names, siblings' names, friends' names. She pushed invitations into them, stamping them shut with firm motions. But one envelope stood alone, its name penned in uncertainty. Kody. Christine glared at it for an extended period of time. Her hands shook as she finally pushed the invitation into it and stamped it closed. "I'm doing this for the kids," she whispered, almost convincing herself. Not for him. Kody's reaction. The camera cut to Flagstaff. As Kody opened his mail, he ripped the envelope aggressively, his eyes scanning the elegant card inside. For a moment his face was unreadable. Then suddenly, he crushed the invitation in his fist, his jaw tightening. "Are you kidding me?" he bellowed, slamming it on the counter. "She's marrying him, and I get to sit there like some visitor to my own funeral?" He stormed out to the backyard, pacing wildly. Robyn trailed after him. "Kody, perhaps this is an olive branch. Perhaps she's attempting to bring you in for the kids." "No," he bellowed, interrupting her. "This isn't about peace. This is about humiliation. She wants me to see her take my place. She wants me to sit there and watch her vow to another man." He kicked a chair, and it went flying across the patio. His voice became a growl. "I won't do it. I won't give her that pleasure." The scene ended with parallel images. Christine slipping her stack of invitations into a mailbox, her hands steady but her eyes filled with uncertainty. Kody crumpling his invitation, tossing it into the trash, rage still simmering. The final shot lingered on the torn card inside the garbage bin. The words, "You're invited," barely visible under the crumpled folds. Kody's voice in the distance, icy and bitter. "She can play her games, but she's not rewriting our history. Not without a fight." The screen went black, leaving everyone in suspense for what was to happen next. The episode began with a panoramic aerial view of Kody Pass. The empty acres stretched out under a gray sky, white patches of snow adhering to the rough ground. This land had once been a dream, an image of oneness, a vision that everyone shared about constructing houses side by side. It was now a haunting reminder of what was promised but never fulfilled. Janelle's voice was heard over the shot. "This was going to be our future, but now it's just dirt. Dirt and shattered plans." Janelle on Kody Pass. Wrapped in a thick coat, Janelle walked out across the land, papers clutched in her hands. The wind blew at her hair, jerking the documents, as if wanting to rip them from her. A contractor walked beside her, gesturing at survey stakes hammered into the iced ground. "Here's where you might construct," he said, nodding toward a level clearing. "But with the incline over there, and no utilities yet, you're going to be looking at a substantial investment just to begin." Janelle's shoulders slumped. "I wanted this to be home. I wanted my kids to come back here, to know they had roots. But now I don't even know if I can afford to do this on my own." The camera drew closer to her face, creased with determination, but cast with concern. "I wasted years thinking Kody would make this a reality, that he'd fight for it. But he never did. Now it's just me, wondering whether I keep the dream going or I leave." Her voice cracked a little. She rubbed at her eyes hastily, muttering, "I don't want to leave. But perhaps it's time." Tesetta. Kody remained in Flagstaff, sitting in his confessional chair, exasperation written into every sentence. "Janelle blames me for Kody Pass, but she knows the truth," he barked. "The wives didn't cooperate. Nobody was willing to compromise. You can't establish unity on disunity. I wanted a family compound. They wanted independence. Well, now they've got it. And guess what? Independence costs money." He leaned in, his tone cold. "She believes she can do this on her own? Fine. But she'll find out soon enough that constructing a life by herself isn't nearly as simple as destroying one." That night, Robyn sat at her kitchen table with Kody, the tension between them thick in the air. She grasped his hand, though he tugged it away to flail wildly as he talked. "She's blaming me, Robyn," he yelled. "Like I didn't give up everything for this family. Like I didn't have big dreams for them. They're the ones who messed it up." Robyn's voice was gentle but insistent. "Kody, perhaps now is the time to stop yelling and begin healing. Call Janelle, work with her. If you want to repair this family, you can't keep screaming at the pieces." Kody pounded his fist on the table, and she jumped. I'm not yelling at pieces. I'm yelling at betrayal. Christine leaves, Janelle walks away. Meri checks out. And I'm supposed to smile and say thank you? Robyn's eyes welled with tears. If you continue to hang on to the anger, you're going to lose me too. The words hung there in the room. Kody stood frozen, his chest heaving with rapid breaths. Don't say that, he finished. Finally, his voice low, a near whisper. Robyn turned her face from him, the silence more deafening than any response. At a warm Flagstaff diner, Janelle sat down with Garrison and Savannah. The camera recorded them pushing into the booth, the tabletop strewn with menus, and a pair of half-empty coffee mugs. I have to be honest with you both, Janelle started, her tone even. I don't know what I'm going to do about Coyote Pass. Developing there may not be an option anymore. Garrison moved forward, his voice firm. Mom, you don't owe Dad anything. That land was his dream, not yours. If it's keeping you from moving forward, leave it behind. Build your own future somewhere else. Savannah scowled. But it was going to be ours too. I wanted to live close to everyone. I wanted a big family compound. I still want it to work. Janelle leaned across the table and grasped her daughter's hand. I know, sweetie. I wanted that too. But sometimes dreams shift. Sometimes they must. Her eyes welled up, but she smiled gently. What's most important is that we're together. Wherever that is. In Utah, Meri labored intensively on her B&B expansion. Nailing boards together, going over blueprints, she radiated concentration and self-reliance. But in her confessional, she acknowledged the inner struggle. Kody just keeps going on and on about unity, she said, shaking her head. But that doesn't mean erasing yourself. I spent too long being quiet. This business, this is my line in the sand. I choose me now. And if that means walking away for good, so be it. The climax of the episode came when Janelle and Kody sat down to speak, cameras recording every moment of the unfiltered conversation. They met in a neutral space, another rented office in Flagstaff. Janelle arrived calm, papers in hand. Kody came in already bristling, his energy electric, with pent-up frustration. I'm trying to figure out Coyote Pass. Janelle began evenly. But I can't do it if you're not willing to work with me. Kody laughed. Work with you? Janelle? You were the one who walked out. You were the one who blew up this marriage. And now you need my assistance? Janelle set her jaw. No, Kody. I need honesty. I need you to own up to never having actually planned to construct here. That all of this was another carrot that you waved in front of us. Kody's face turned red. That's a lie. I wanted this dream more than anybody. Then why didn't you fight for it? Janelle fired back. Why didn't you make it happen? Instead, you pursued control. You pursued Robyn. And you drowned the rest of us. The room was charged with silence. Kody's hands shook on the table. You're not my wife anymore, Janelle said quietly, but firmly. And the truth is, you're not a father to our kids either. Not the way they need you. I'm done, Kody. She gathered her papers, stood, and walked out. The door slammed behind her, the echo ringing like a gavel. Kody sat frozen, his face pale, his chest heaving. For once he had no words. Janelle driving from the meeting, tears flowing but her chin still held high. Christine at home in Utah, smiling as David swept her up in a dance in their living room. Meri painting the walls of her inn, a fire burning in her eyes. Robyn gazing out her window, whispering through tears. I don't know if I can do this anymore. The last shot showed Kody, alone in the office staring at the empty chair where Janelle had sat. His voiceover closed the episode. They think they can just cut me out. They think I'm the problem. But they're wrong. I'm the only one who ever fought for this family. And I'll keep fighting, even if I'm fighting alone. The screen faded, and not with Kody. Not with any of the wives. But with the second generation of Browns. They had been background figures for years. Kids playing in backyards. Teenagers fighting curfews. College kids building their lives. Now they were grown-ups with opinions. And in this episode, TLC set them front and center. A gentle piano melody accompanied a montage. Logan in his home office, Maddie wrangling two small children in North Carolina, Aspen strolling through Salt Lake streets, McKelty holding her infant, Gabriel tinkering with his car. Garrison renovating his house. Each of the children, spread out across states, held a fragment of the family's broken narrative. The on-screen text was, "For the first time the Brown children tell their side." The first of the confessional chairs was Logan's, the eldest of the Brown children. Tranquil, steady, he talked like a man accustomed to carrying loads without complaint. "As the oldest, I always felt responsible," he said. "When Dad wasn't present, I filled in. When the moms were short-handed, I pitched in. And for a time I believed in the dream. A large family, much love. But as time went on, it no longer felt like love. It felt like survival." He clenched his jaw. "I don't hate my dad. But I don't look to him like a son should. He was there when it was easy, not when it was hard." Cut to archival footage. Young Logan playing with children, babysitting toddlers, respectfully maintaining order. Back to him, older, wiser, but fatigued. "My mom Janelle taught me strength. Not Dad. That's the truth." Then came Mykelti, her infant on her lap. She rocked softly, her voice hotter. "Dad's definition of love is control," she told him bluntly. "If you obey him, he's happy. If you disobey him, you're not loyal. That's not love. That's fear." Her eyes softened as she gazed down at her baby. "I don't want my kids growing up thinking that's what family is. Mom showed me what freedom looks like. And now I finally understand why she left." Editors intercut images of Christine spinning around her Utah kitchen, laughing, the sharp contrast to Flagstaff's oppressive silence. "Dad might never own up to it," Mykelti continued. "But Mom going saved her. And in a way, it saved all of us as well." There was the next voice. Shaking, barely audible. Gabriel sat in his bedroom, posters still on the walls. A young man suspended between boy and man. "When COVID came, I attempted to speak with Dad. I reminded him it was my birthday. I pleaded for him to come visit me. And he forgot." His eyes welled with tears. He buried his face in his hands, gasping out the words, "I'll never forget that, ever. Because in that moment, I knew I wasn't a priority. Not to him, not to Robyn, not to anyone." The heavy silence that followed was only interrupted by his stifled sobs. When your own dad doesn't show up for you, you stop expecting him to. And that's the hardest part. "I don't expect anything from him anymore." Cut to Garrison in a workshop. Paint splatters on his hands, resolve carved onto his face. "I served my country," he affirmed. "I risked my life. And yet, Dad couldn't respect me, couldn't even give me basic support. All had to be his way, his rules, his control." He blew out a harsh breath, putting down a tool. "I adore my mom. I adore my siblings. But Dad, he made his choice. He picked Robyn, and I chose to stop begging for bits of his attention." The editors insert old film of Garrison embracing his siblings as he departs for deployment, his dad's absence feeling keenly in the recollection. "This family isn't fractured due to polygamy," Garrison determined. "It's fractured because Dad gave up on all of us. He only cared about one segment." Maddie bounced her toddler on her knee while speaking to the camera. "My children will never question whether their father loves them," she said quietly. "Because Caleb appears every day. That's what fathering is. Appearing, even when it's difficult. I don't concern myself with plural marriage, with rules, with any of that. Love is uncomplicated. You pick it, or you don't." She met the camera's eye, her tone biting. Dad opted out. The episode cut back and forth between confessions and scenes of siblings congregating in groups of 2s and 3s. Aspin had dinner with Isabel and Peden. Over the table they teased each other about their childhood experiences. But the discussion ultimately turned. "I don't want to hate him," Aspin confessed. "I really don't. But it's difficult to love someone who doesn't show up." Peden, always a straight shooter, shook his head. "He'll never change. Stop expecting him to." Isabel pushed at her food, her tone soft but insistent. "I stopped waiting a long time ago." Their words weighed heavily in the room, but so did one new kind of bond. Siblings selecting one another, even as their father slipped further away. At last the cameras cut back to Kody, seeing his children's confessionals on camera. His expression contorted, rage fueling with every accusation. "They're lying," he snapped. "They don't know what it means to provide for a family. They think I left them. No, they left me. They took sides. Christine poisoned their minds against me." His anger grew, quivering with rage. "I did my best to keep us intact. And now they want to sit here and discuss me like a monster? I'm their dad. They don't get to take that away. He leaned closer, glaring into the camera. They'll regret this one day. When I'm gone, when they see what they've lost, they'll regret it. The finale moment. The kids united. The episode closed with a powerful montage. Logan hugging Maddie goodbye at the airport. Kelty and Tony laughing with Christine in Utah. Garrison and Gabriel working side by side on a house project. Isabel FaceTiming Truly, giggling despite the distance. Aspen and Peden clinking glasses during dinner. The siblings who were once spread thin between homes now took comfort in one another. Across the photos, Logan's narration delivered the last line. We didn't choose to be born into polygamy, but we did choose who we want to be as adults. And the truth is, we're stronger together, even without him. The Browns had never thought their lives would turn out this way. What had started as a vision of togetherness and common faith had within 20 years fragmented into divergent homes, divided allegiances, and questions that would not leave them alone. Season 20 did not begin with the smiling laughter of one extended polygamous family huddled in a circle, but with quiet. The quiet of bare homes, of ringing phones not answered, of a patriarch who had ruled over 4 wives but could now barely get in touch with one. The season opened with Kody alone at a long wooden table in Flagstaff. Once the table was filled with wives and children. Now he gazed at 4 chairs pulled back, as if ghosts might be sitting there. His hair grew thin, his voice had more gravel than flame. And yet, in the confessional chair, he would not give up. I still believe in family. But maybe family doesn't believe in me anymore. Christine's life in Utah had flowered. There was a wedding planned with David Woolley, her smile more radiant and unencumbered than ever before fans had laid eyes on. But her narrative wasn't simply about romance. It was about her children, caught between joy in celebrating their mother's new start and questioning what relationship, if any, existed with their father. Meri had secretly built up her Parowan, Utah, B&B. For years, she was the reject wife no longer desired. She was now resolved to stand tall, labeling herself not as a reject, but as an entrepreneur. Her hook was when she told producers, "This season, I am finally writing my own story, and it doesn't include waiting for someone else's approval." Janelle, still reeling from explosive battles with Kody, was confronted with the toughest choices. She loved her children dearly, but money was tighter than ever. She wondered if independence would mean stability or more uncertainty. Robyn, on the other hand, bore the weight of being the last wife standing. Previously showed to be favored, now she seemed even more alone than ever. Her confessionals were filled with tears, but also resentment. I didn't sign up to be the only one left. I wanted sister wives, not just me and Kody. The drama escalated when Kody attempted to have a family meeting with grown children. Hammers recorded the heated scene, Hunter refusing to come, Gabriel still mourning lost time, Maddie holding ground in North Carolina, and Garrison closing doors. The pandemic wounds had never fully healed. Rather than reconciliation, the meeting exploded in blame. Christine, invited but not there, communicated a message through her daughters. Dad needs to show us action, not words. Kody's face reddened with rage, but over it was unmistakable pain. Meri called on Robyn, ending months of silence. What was to be a quiet cup of tea became one of the most visceral discussions in series history. Mascara streaked, Robyn whispered, "I feel abandoned, Meri, by everyone but you. If you leave too?" Meri, hands crossed, responded softly. "Robyn, I already left in every way that matters. I stayed too long hoping for a miracle. My miracle is me." Christine's marriage engagement to David became the focus of initial shows. TLC cameras tagged along as she shopped for wedding gowns with daughters and sisters. However, happiness was sliced with tension as she confessed she was unsure if to invite Kody altogether. "Perhaps I ought to, for the children," she said to Janelle over coffee. Janelle shook her head emphatically. "Christine, he didn't appear at them before. Don't let him spoil this for you." News still reached Kody. In a confessional, his voice broke. "She was my wife for decades. I raised children with her. And she's marrying someone else? And I'm not even a part of it." The show closed with a familiar cliffhanger. Christine sending out invitations, as Kody crumpled his in anger. Janelle's narrative became more intense: economic hardships, health issues, and her want to construct a house on Coyote Pass intersected. She met with builders, purchasing tissues to hold back tears as she confessed she may never construct the dream home that she previously imagined with Kody. While that was happening, Robyn attempted to persuade Kody to reconcile. Kody's anger, however, particularly against Christine and Janelle, intensified instead. During a fiery argument captured on camera, Robyn slammed a door. "If you can't let go of the hate, you'll lose me too." In perhaps the most moving episode, producers turned their attention to the adult children. Mykelti, Peyton, Logan, and a few others sat in confessional chairs, addressing the camera directly about the cracks in their family. "My mom's happier than she's ever been," Mykelti said. "And Dad, he just doesn't get it. He thinks control equals love. But love means letting go." The children's voices redefined the story. Fans witnessed that the new generation of the family no longer believed in the polygamous ideal. Christine's wedding was the mid-season finale. A lovely ceremony in Utah, with daughters escorting her down the aisle, a new husband in attendance, and happiness emanating in every frame. But the conflict? Kody was absent. So was Robyn. Contrarily, Janelle and Meri both appeared, not as adversaries but as allies. There was a caught-on-camera rare, real laugh between them, as if past hurts were closing in the shelter of Christine's new life. Robyn became increasingly lonely. Once Kody's innermost companion, she now felt caged. In sobbing confessionals she confessed, "I thought I'd be part of something bigger. Now I feel like I'm in a cage, holding pieces of a man who's falling apart." Her narrative came to a head when she saw Meri again, confronting her bluntly. "If you were me, would you stay?" The question lingered unanswered. The most explosive confrontation of the season reignited between Kody and Janelle. A heated argument about money, loyalty, and the future ended with Janelle storming out, declaring, "You're not my husband anymore. You're not even a father to our kids. I'm done." Viewers flooded social media, declaring it the moment Janelle officially claimed her independence. Robyn and Kody's long-perceived invincible marriage started to crack. Kody's fixation with vindicating Christine tainted their relationship. Robyn blamed him for holding on to anger rather than forging a new life. Robyn tattled through tears in one strained scene, "I don't know if I can do this if you can't let go. Maybe polygamy broke us all." Christine dancing in her backyard, children and David around her, laughter a sign of new beginnings. Janelle signing documents to own her own property, proclaiming financial independence. Meri making plans to expand her B&B, raising a glass to self-sufficiency. Robyn sitting in silence, tears on her face, gazing out a window at the empty driveway. Kody by himself in his confessional chair, speaking softly, "I was hoping for a legacy of oneness, and what I have are ashes. Perhaps all I can do now is rebuild, if only people will allow it." The screen went dark with an ominous line of text. The Browns looked to their future apart. But is the Sister Wives saga finally finished? Season 20 hook wasn't solely about polygamy falling apart. It was about what emerges when a family collapses. Christine's happiness pitted against Kody's desperation. Janelle's strength fought his frailty. Meri moved into independence. And Robyn grappled with isolation. The children, once quiet, were now the voices of truth. By the end, the sisterhood had dissolved in reality. But its ghost persisted. Audiences were left wondering, can love endure beyond polygamy? Can forgiveness heal the chasm? Or was the ideal of sister wives ever meant to break down beneath its own strain? The camera held a long shot of Flagstaff. The sky went pale blue, pine trees swayed gently in the breeze, and the San Francisco mountains' peaks jutted hard against the horizon. The air appeared cold, crisp, and nearly empty. Then the lens moved down to a peaceful cul-de-sac, where a single large home sat immobile, blinds closed. A truck parked crookedly in the driveway. Inside, the home was quiet, eerily quiet. No kids dashing about, no wives rushing to and fro, no intersecting conversations that once characterized the Browns. Rather, there was simply a single man at a table too large for him. Kody Brown leaned forward, his elbows rammed against the wood, fingers interlocked like a man grasping the final frame of a photograph. His curls had diminished, gray slicing through gold. His eyes, once alight with energy, now seemed restless and battered from lack of sleep. The table before him was rectangular and long, once polished but now dull with scratches. 4 chairs were pushed back, slightly turned as if unseen guests had just gotten up from them. It was the same table where pandemic arguments had raged, where birthdays had previously spilled over with laughter, where grand family announcements had been made. Now it was just him. Kody exhaled, long and heavy. I used to think this table meant something, he said, voice raw. This was supposed to be the symbol of us, one big family, breaking bread together, no matter the arguments. But now it just feels like a tombstone. Silence. He reached for the edge of a chair, ran his hand along the wood, and swallowed. I still have faith in family. I still have faith in marriage, in covenant, in commitment. But what do you do? He questioned, looking across the vacant seat at him. When family no longer has faith in you. The confessional chair cinched him in tightly, all his wrinkles and creases defined under harsh studio lights. Kody's tone turned cold. I won't take this as the finality. I won't. Christine believes she's done with me. Janelle claims to be on her own. Meri claims to be moving on. And Robyn, he shook his head. Robyn's all I've got left. But even she's exhausted. I can sense it. His jaw clenched. 30 years of sacrifice turning into nothing isn't going to happen on my watch. Not without fighting for it. Switch to Utah. Christine's new beginning. The action was suddenly cut to Salt Lake City. Light streamed into a sunny kitchen where Christine moved quickly, humming as she chopped vegetables. Her fiancé, David Woolley, rested against the counter, smiling as he observed her. I never thought I'd be this happy, Christine confessed, putting down the knife and pushing hair from her face. I wake up every morning feeling excited. I feel loved. I feel seen. I feel free. David kissed her forehead and said, "That's all I want for you." Christine smiled at the camera. I've closed the chapter on Flagstaff. It's behind me. But my kids, they're still connected to it. And that means Kody's still in my life, whether I want him to be or not. Her speech was soft but unyielding, like a woman who had learned to walk through flames and be scarless. In Parowan, Utah, Meri also stood before Lizzie's Heritage Inn, the restored bed and breakfast she had owned. The autumn leaves crunched beneath her boots, as she gestured toward a side wing. This season, I'm growing, she told producers. More rooms, more events, more energy. For years I sat back, waiting for my marriage to recover, waiting for somebody else to pick me. I'm done waiting. My miracle is me. Her voice quivered a little on that final line, but her eyes remained piercing. Inside, where she set up decorations, she slipped in softly. Do I still miss the family sometimes? Yes. But I've realized, I don't miss being invisible. Janelle's segment began with her standing on the empty ground at Coyote Pass. Wind stung her jacket, the vacant lot stretching behind her, like a lost dream. She was tired, but determined. By now I expected we'd have homes here, she said, sweeping her hand across the flat ground. I expected this is where we'd live out our golden years. But here we are, nothing constructed, nothing owned, only promises broken. She knelt to scoop up a handful of dust, allowing it to fall through her fingers. I don't know what's next. I don't know if independence is freedom or just loneliness. But I do know this. I'm not waiting for Kody to make the call anymore. Robyn's segment began in her Flagstaff living room. The house appeared clean but bare. Toys lay untouched, the fireplace unlit. Robyn was on the couch, her knees wrapped up to her chest, mascara already smeared. Not my choice, she whispered, her voice cracking. I signed up for Sister Wives. I signed up for a large, unified family. And I get to be the sole survivor standing beside him. And I don't know if I can handle this by myself. She swiped at her eyes, but the tears continued to fall. I feel abandoned. By everybody but him. And if Meri leaves too, she hesitated, shook her head. I don't even want to think about that. The scene switched back to Kody. Resolute to bring the family together, he took his phone and called Meri. The cameras covered both sides of the call. Meri, he started, voice nearly imploring. We have to talk. We have to sit down. All of us. The children too. On the other line, Meri's expression stayed even, though her eyes flashed. Kody, every time we sit down, it's the same thing. Yelling, accusations. No listening. What's the use? The use, Kody cut in, tone cold, is that we're still family. We can't just abandon decades of living together. Meri stopped, then gently, we already did, Kody. You just haven't admitted it yet. The silence on the line was thicker than any scream. The show concluded with a chilling montage. Christine laughing in her kitchen with David. Janelle gazing out over the vacant acres of Coyote Pass. Meri pounding a new sign into the ground. In front of her inn. Robyn huddled on her couch, tears dotting her cheeks. And Kody sitting once more at the long wooden table, his hand tracing over the vacant chair next to him. His voice a whisper now. Overlaid the pictures. I thought this family was unbreakable. But now, I don't know if I have anything left to hold on to. Old wounds, new realities. The sun rose over Flagstaff, casting pale light over the mountains. The wind was cool, a reminder that autumn was quickly becoming winter. For most families, mornings were a time for all to be together. Coffee, conversation, children scrambling out the door. For the Browns, mornings were now quiet. In Kody's home, the camera saw him walking back and forth. His fingers jittered as he talked into his phone, gripping it tightly. They don't get it, he muttered to himself, but clearly enough that the mic could catch it. They think they can just shut me out. No, this isn't how it ends. I need to get them all in one room. We need to deal with this head on. He cut off and stared at the camera. The kids need to hear from me. I'm still their dad. Later that afternoon, Kody sat in a rented conference room in Flagstaff. A large long oval table dominated the room, surrounded by a collection of mismatched chairs. It was almost corporate, sterile, far from the comfortable family living rooms the Browns had gathered in. The producers had persuaded a few of the adult children to show up, though not all had complied. Logan arrived first, serene but reserved. Logan wore a simple button-down shirt, his composure steady, but his eyes revealing hesitation. Madison followed behind him with her husband Caleb. They both bore the unspoken weight of distance, having established a life in North Carolina, away from the commotion.